welcome back to another episode of Just Your Average Baker. I'm Amelia, and in today's episode we are going to be attempting to make quick, easy, healthy cinnamon rolls. Mine are going to be a little bit less healthy because I'm adding extra cinnamon and sugar to mine. I've already read through the recipe and decided I want to do that. And I'm also going to use frosting on mine, which isn't included in the recipe. I'll be linking the cinnamon roll recipe down below. It's got a lot of different options for what you can use in it. I'll just be showing you what I'm using for mine, and then I will write in the frosting recipe down below as well. So be sure to check those out, and let's go ahead and get started with what you'll need for today's recipe. For our cinnamon rolls, you'll need 2 cups of flour, 2.5 teaspoons baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 5 tablespoons of butter, 3 1/4 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar, 6 tablespoons of sugar, that's flour, this is sugar, 1 more tablespoon of butter, and 2 teaspoons ground cinnamon. The reason they're cutting the butter up when they're explaining the recipe is because the first time there's other options for what you can use in place of the butter. So be sure to read the recipe if you want those other options. For our icing, you'll need a couple tablespoons of milk, 1/3 of a cup of powdered sugar, and then if you want to, a little bit of vanilla. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and grease your 8-inch pie pan. I'm using one of these disposable aluminum ones because I just don't want to clean up, but you can use whatever pie pan you do have. Boom, set that off to the side. To begin, we will mix our flour, baking powder, and our salt in a large mixing bowl. Next, we are going to add in our butter. You're supposed to use a pastry blender if you have one. If you don't have a pastry blender, you can use a fork, or I'm going to use my fingers, and you just mix it in until it resembles coarse meal. Chill this mixture in the fridge for about 10 minutes now. While our mixture is in the fridge chilling, we're going to make our cinnamon sugar stir. It's going to be 3 tablespoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons cinnamon. And this is the part where I said I'm probably going to add more cinnamon and sugar later, depending on how this pans out, because that just doesn't seem like enough for me in my cinnamon rolls. We'll see. There goes the oven. It's preheated. How many teaspoons in a tablespoon, Google?
1 US tablespoon equals 3 US teaspoons.
Right, so I used a teaspoon to put my sugar in, so I had to do some extra sugar recon now. Maybe I won't need more. Because I'm bored while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my milk right now, and that is, what is it, 3/4 of a cup. And I'm still bored, so I'm going to measure out my apple cider vinegar and also my sugar, because then this mixture will go into our dough once it's done chilling. I'm just impatient. So normally you'd wait for the dough to chill and then add these things in, but I'm just going to measure them into the milk and add it in when it's done chilling. Then your 3 tablespoons of sugar. So in our mixture, just to clarify, because I've already messed this up, in the cinnamon sugar mixture, there are 3 tablespoons of sugar. In what we're about to add to our dough, there's also 3 tablespoons of sugar. Our dough is chilled, or our flour butter mixture stuff is chilled, and now we're going to add in the milk, the apple cider vinegar, and the sugar. Stir this until it's combined without overworking the dough. If it's too dry, you can add more flour and add extra milk and stuff. That's all in the recipe as well. So just kind of work it together till it comes together. Mine doesn't actually seem too dry, it seems too wet. But I guess we'll see. That seems pretty well combined to me, so we'll be on to the next step. It says that our next step is to turn out the dough onto a floured, clean surface. This is clean, it's just got flour on it already. And I'm using this baking pan upside down, not only because it's already clean, but also because it'll help me find the rectangle shape in the end. And I have a feeling, because our dough is so wet, that we are going to need extra flour. The recipe says to only knead it 4 times and not to overwork it. But again, it's pretty wet dough, so we'll see what happens when we put it out here. There's like no way you could knead this like this. I'm definitely gonna knead in extra flour. That's looking more like dough. I'd say I added, to get this doughiness where I can hold it and it's not totally just oozing all over my hands, probably added about 1/2 cup of flour as I kneaded it, and now I'm going to lay down some extra flour so that we can roll it out. Now we're going to roll out our dough with a rolling pin, and it will be a large rectangle about 1/4 of an inch thick. Okay, rectangle. You're close enough to a rectangle. Now we are going to, with our extra tablespoon of butter, like I mentioned at the beginning, I've melted it and I'm going to, you're just gonna brush it over the dough. I'm gonna spoon it and then wipe it because I don't have a pastry brush. And then you're going to sprinkle on your cinnamon sugar mixture. This is where I thought I would need extra sugar, but really doesn't seem like I will, so I don't think I'm gonna add any extra here. Now we get to roll the dough. Starting with the long side, just roll the dough into a log, like a cinnamon roll, like what you would imagine you would do next. I love working with dough. It's just so fun. Dough log! Using a sharp knife, you're now going to cut your log into 12 equal rolls. So I'm going to get rid of the little nubbins on the end. And then cut it out into 12 rolls. That's 11, but that's close enough. It's 12 rolls if we count the nubbins. Now, we place them in our greased pan from earlier. I'm putting the nubbins in. Why waste them, right? Boom. All that's left to do is pop these bad boys in the oven for 12 minutes or until golden brown and clean up the horrible flour mess that has occurred. Really though. Look at all the flour. If you want to at this point, you can make icing for your cinnamon rolls if you want icing for them. I do, so I will be. You'll need, like I said, 1/3 cup of powdered sugar and then a couple tablespoons of milk. I'm using skim milk. And then there's not really a measurement for how many tablespoons. It just depends on how thick you want your frosting to be. And then if you want vanilla, you can add vanilla. I'm only doing 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla because I don't want it to be very strong, and I think it's already going to be pretty sweet because of the sugar. And I'm not actually going to add any more milk. If you like this consistency, you can leave it at this. I'm going to add a little bit more powdered sugar because I like my frosting to be a little thicker. But that's it. Pretty easy frosting for your cinnamon rolls. Just took them out of the oven. They smell amazing and they look amazing. I'm gonna let them cool a little bit before I drizzle on my frosting. My favorite part! Taste test. So I'm just gonna pop one of these out and give it a taste. I picked a tiny one to taste. Here we go. That was too good to take just one bite. That's how good that cinnamon roll was. And I've never made cinnamon rolls before, so I'm excited about this because this recipe was pretty easy. It was pretty quick. I ended up leaving mine in the oven for about 20 minutes instead of 12, just because I really wanted them to turn that kind of golden brown color, but it's probably going to depend on your oven if you make these. But they're freaking delicious, so I highly suggest and recommend this recipe. You don't have to rise the dough or use yeast or anything like that, so pretty darn simple and pretty darn delicious. Definitely, I would say give this recipe a go if you're into cinnamon rolls. And it really wasn't that difficult at all. I'm eating them again. We have come to the end of today's video. We made our quick, healthy, the third thing, cinnamon rolls. They're freaking amazing and delicious and poofy and rolly and covered in frosting, and I couldn't be happier with them. If you try out this recipe, do let me know. Comment down below. Let me know how it works out for you. For me, they turned out just, I can't get over it. I'm definitely going to be making these again. And if you liked watching this video and watching me try my hand at making cinnamon rolls, then please go actually like this video, thumbs up it, whatever you do. Subscribe to the channel to see more baking videos, candy videos, food related videos in general, and I will see you guys next week. Happy baking! Bye! I just want to eat this whole tray of cinnamon rolls right now.